Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI, coming to you again from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios. I know I said I would be in there today, but I keep testing positive. And if I'm testing positive, I'm not walking out of this door. Although I did go for a walk the other day. It's funny, I went for a walk just to get out. And I ran into two people I knew. And of course, I'm like, stay away. But yeah, I tested positive yesterday. I was surprised Sunday, and then tested again this morning and tested positive. But we're going to have Coach Spurrier on. He'll be in the podcast room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and appreciate him for doing it. We won't have Coach Spurrier on next Thursday, and I'm not sure who we're going to have on Wednesday. I had somebody I thought lined up, and it turned out they couldn't do it. So we'll have somebody, though, on Wednesday. So Wednesday we'll do a show that will be up Wednesday night and Thursday morning for you guys, talking mostly about the game coming up. So that was the whole plan, was to do it, not wait till Thursday and do it. Hey, you know what I'm saying. Okay. So anyway, that's the plan, and we'll have a great guest in, I'm sure. Actually, we may get Josh Newman to come on again. Josh has done the show twice already, but he's great talking about Utah. He can tell you everything you need to know about him. Let's get to the process service of Gainesville starting five, brought to you by the great folks who do process service in Gainesville. Scott Hart and his group. We appreciate them for all the good work they do. Number one, it's game week. I've been wanting to say that for so long. I mean, because really, you never think that way about any other sport. You never just go, oh, the game, because nobody else has such a big, you start off with football season. There's, all this other stuff going on. Basketball starts during football season, so the first game's not that big a deal. Baseball starts during basketball season. And again, nobody gets too excited about the first game of college baseball. It's the last game that you care about, and Florida was in that game. But the bottom line is there's nothing like college football season, because you're sitting there going, when's it going to get here? Well, it's here. It's funny because I mentioned to my wife, I said, the Gators play a week from today. This was Thursday. And she was like, oh, man, I don't feel good. I'm like, yeah, I know, honey. She's got nervous watching Swamp Kings, and she knew the scores of all the games. She knew who was winning the games, and she got nervous during the games they were showing. But that's the way a lot of people are. Think about this, though. Everybody always loves to talk about Florida never goes anywhere, and Florida never plays a road game. Here are Florida's games over the last 7 years, opening games, okay? Non-conference games. One was a conference game. Michigan, Miami, Ole Miss, under Lane Kiffin, Utah, and Utah. Now, only one of those games was at home. So they've played either neutral site or on the road for a lot of games. So this is not your old school play Western Kentucky and get a win and go home. Obviously, it's going to be a heck of a game. We are going to do a little more looking at Utah and what Florida's got to do to win this game on the show that we're going to do Wednesday, okay, as a preview. It's mostly going to be a preview show, to be honest with you, which is why we should get Josh Newman on. All right, number two, I have no feel for this game. I will tell you that. I have no idea what Cam Rising's health is like. I have no idea what Graham Mertz is going to do. I mean, we know what he's done against air. We know what he's done in scrimmages when he can't get hit. Well, we don't know what he's going to do in this game. I just don't have any kind of feel for the game. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes my feel for the game's way off. I remember one year I told Robbie, I said, Tennessee's going to beat Florida. Their receivers are so good. This was about 5 years ago. And Florida beat them like by 100, I think. So I have no idea. No idea, but I have no feel. And I don't know how many of you have a great feel for what's going on. I just, it's a hard one to figure out because of the experience that Utah has. There's no doubt about it. It's an issue for Florida comparatively. We'll see what Coach Spurrier has to say about what his feel is for this game. Let's get to number 3 on the process service of Gainesville starting 5. And there was college football this weekend. It wasn't great. And by the way, I will say this. We're all anticipating college football. And there are a couple of games, Florida, Utah being one, FSU, LSU being another, North Carolina, South Carolina. And that's kind of the list. It's not a great opening. I mean, remember there was an opening weekend about 4 years ago where there were like 9 great games. And they turned out it wasn't that great a weekend. Things didn't work out the way we kind of hoped they would. But this weekend, I think the anticipation is, hey, maybe there'll be a big upset because you never know with college football. Now, we know that who the great teams are going to be, and I don't think Georgia's in any danger this weekend. But that's, I think, why we can't wait for it, because all of a sudden we'll be sitting there going, hey, look at who's winning that game. And you'll flip out. Where's that? What channel is that on? Some of us get every channel, so we can watch everything. There's not much I can't watch. And we'll give you that in the Swamp Games of the weekend coming up. All right, number 3, there were games this weekend. Notre Dame looked really good. I really wanted Hartman to come to Florida. And they started to tell a story that was really weird about it that I didn't quite get. Maybe somebody else gets it. But about how his brother is a med student down here, and they started talking about coming down here or something. I never really could grasp. So I went back and watched it over and over again, trying to figure out what he was trying to say, the announcer, but I still don't know. But anyway, he's not here. And he's really good. However, Navy's not very good. And they did some good things, but there wasn't much good about it. They missed some opportunities early. USC's defense appears to be in midseason form. I mean, they gave up a 3rd and 22. They gave up 28 points. Gave up, I think, 198 rushing yards. And that was against a bad team, against San Jose State. And they're not very good. Vanderbilt was a big bit of a surprise how close that game was. I mean, I got to confess, I went to bed at 28-14. I think Hawaii got stopped on a 4th down, so I went to bed, and I got up and found out it became a 1-touchdown game. They had the ball with less than 2 minutes to go with a chance to win the game or tie the game or maybe go for 2. I'm sure if you're a Vanderbilt fan, it's a little disappointing. There's a lot of momentum going with the things they're doing at the stadium and trying to do things a little bit better. But that wasn't great. So those are the games, but the main thing was it was back and it was great. And when you're sick with COVID, there's nothing better than a college football Saturday, because I just sat and watched everything until I got too tired. All right, number 4, volleyball. Big win over Penn State on Friday, and then beat USF. And it was actually a kind of surprising that it was 5-setter. Sorry, there's going to be a little coughing here. I apologize. But it's certainly a good win for Florida to start off 2-0. That's big, and we're going to tell you about what they've got coming up, which is even bigger. But that was certainly a good win for them, getting both those wins. And then soccer going to 3-0-1, beat Stetson 8-0. Stetson's not any good, but they're playing really well. Well, look, they're playing better than they were last year, and they've gotten some recruits in there that are doing some good things. So Samantha Bohan knows what she's doing, and it's good to see them off to a 3-0-1 start so far this year. And finally, on the process service of Gainesville, starting 5, Victor Hovland was unbelievable this weekend. No doubt about it. He was a little bit too good. You'd start to get into it because there was nothing else on on Saturday. The Braves were on. I think they came on at 4, maybe. So I watched a little bit of that game. No, that was a night. They were the night game. There was nothing on during the day, so you had to kind of watch it. But again, I'm not a big fan of the way they did it. They do that with the giving the guys strokes, giving them a staggered start, as they call it. But I don't think it really mattered. I mean, the guy was hitting everything down the middle, hitting all the greens, making all the putts. I mean, guys get on these rolls that are incredible, and Hovland's been on one that's lasted most of the year. I still am mad at him because I had him as my second guy in a U.S. Open pool, or a British Open pool, I think it was. And I had a really good team, I felt like, and Hovland had no WD with some kind of eye thing. He got an eye infection. It killed me. And look, he would have probably won. That's how good he is. But he is I like the guy, and I've been a kind of a fan of his for a while now. I just like him. He seems like he's got a great demeanor and a big heart, and he knows what he's doing, and it's a lot of money. $21.6 million in 8 days. So he won last week and again this week. So he's having a pretty good year. Probably be the player of the year. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by the HBC, and we'll talk to him about all the stuff going on, not only Victor Hovland, but, of course, opening game. We'll ask him about some of his opening games, talk to him about a lot of things. And then Robbie will join us a little bit later, and we'll also get to our Campus USA play of the weekend. All that stuff and more is coming up here on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he has just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Process Service of Gainesville offers a rapid turnaround on affidavits of service for Gator lawyers locally and nationwide. Our friend Scott Hart offers immediate responses on status requests and is a member of NAPS and FATS. And he has been a part of the community for almost 2 decades. Need service? Call Process Service of Gainesville at 407-697-9592 or email shartgators, that's G8TR, at yahoo.com. And make sure you ask about the paralegal legal secretary bonus program.
Gator fans, football season is here. What's better than seeing the Gators back on the field? Easy. Seeing amazing speakers and fellow Gator fans weekly at the Gainesville Quarterback Club. Held every Tuesday night of a home game at the Best Western Gateway Grand. Enjoy happy hour, great food, valuable insights from yours truly and Andy Staples, plus notable speakers throughout the season. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you access to elite speakers like coaches, NCAA football insiders, Gator greats, and more. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-season meetings, home tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or visit thequarterbackclub.org. Or better yet, just give me a call and I'll get you to the right people.
Duke plays Clemson at home a week from tonight, Monday night, of course, a national TV game and so forth. And a lot of us Dukies, that was the game that really took us off way back in 1989, only 34 years ago. But we had a huge upset of Clemson, and then we came in the game 1-3, and then all of a sudden we believed we were good enough to win the rest of them. And I'll be dadgum, the guys did it, and we did it with 2 different quarterbacks. Billy Ray, and then David Brown came on. So after beating Clemson, our confidence got really super, and we won the rest of the games and won the ACC football championship, the only one in the last 60 years. And I got a chance to be the Florida coach. But if we don't beat Clemson, I don't think I'd ever have been the Florida coach.
I almost forgot to take off my glasses because I got this glare from this light. Yeah, no, you wouldn't have. I don't know. Who knows what would have happened if that had happened? I mean, who knows what happens if Galen Hall doesn't get in trouble? I mean, you know, he had put together a great, as you know, a great recruiting class in '87, and that was basically the class that helped you guys win so many games. But who knows? But I mean, everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah, I always gave Galen Hall tremendous credit for leaving me a heck of a ball team. Our defense was third in the nation the year before I got here, and we returned 8 starters. So it was one of the best defenses I've ever coached with.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about opening day for the Gators. Obviously, this is a different one where you're trying to dodge a hurricane to get out of here, and you're going all the way to Utah. I don't know what you think of, and I don't know that I would do anything different, but what Coach Napier decided not to go out early because you can't get used to altitude change. The NFL will say it's a 10-day process, and there's no point. You're not going out 10 days early. So I don't know how many games you played in or coached in that kind of altitude. Did you notice a big difference?
Pat, I've been to Utah once. We were coaching the Orlando Apollos, and when the league was still going in 2019. So that was only 4 years ago. But anyway, I think the game was like first or second week in March. And when we got there on Friday, it was a Saturday night game, beautiful weather. It was 55, maybe 60, something like that. And then we woke up Saturday morning, and snow was predicted for later on in the afternoon. So, and we had a night game. So about 4 o'clock, it started snowing. And when we got to the ballpark and went out for warm-ups, we couldn't stand up. The ball was all over the place, and there was snow on the field an inch or two. So anyway, I came in the locker room after warm-ups, and I said, fellas, if we can win a ball game in the snow, not many Florida teams have ever done it. And we'll have a memory of a lifetime, as if us Florida boys can come up here and get a win in a snowstorm, we'll have something to talk about. So I'm talking about it right now. And we ended up playing one of the best games of the year. We only punted once. There was no turnovers. And I think we won like 24-12, something like that. So our guys really played well. Gosh, our field goal kicker, Elliott Fry, 3 for 3 on field goals, kicking it out of the snow. I don't know how he did it. And our quarterback was hit about 75%. But anyway, it's one of the best games we played all year. And us Florida boys won a ball game in a snowstorm.
That's pretty good. Well, obviously, when you've been through a lot of opening days. You really at Florida, you only had one that you even had to worry about, and that was at Kentucky, which was, other than that, you were pretty much playing directional schools. But there still is that feeling of still not sure what I have as you get ready to start the season, and so there's like a nervous energy. I mean, did you feel any of that?
Well, usually we thought we had our best players ready to go play, and then all of a sudden the games start, and maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks later, well, maybe there's other players on this team that are better. I know we were talking earlier in the week about the Thursday night game of '92 when we went to Mississippi State. We'd won the SEC the year before. We were 7-0, undefeated in SEC play. And anyway, we thought we had a decent team, but we lost a lot of players from that '91 team. And our offensive line was a little sporadic. And Mississippi State beat us 30-6, I think it was. And we had to come back and make some changes. And the biggest change probably was Jason Odom going in at the offensive tackle position. And he was a good player, true freshman. We were hoping to redshirt him like we did almost all the freshmen back in those days. Right. But Jason came in, Shane started playing better. We started coaching better too. We mixed in the run a lot more than maybe coming out trying to throw it all over the place. So then we won the rest of our games and during the regular season conference games and won the Eastern Division and almost upset Alabama in the championship game. But teams get better or worse as the season progresses. That's a simple fact. And that 92 team got a lot better after that Thursday night game.
Yeah, they won 7 in a row at one point. So that was a heck of a performance by them. Shane has talked a little bit about how much he likes Graham Mertz as a quarterback. And I wonder if that's because Shane sees a little bit of him in Graham Mertz and that he's, he's an accurate passer, not the greatest arm in the world, but an accurate passer. And he kind of sees that. I don't know what you've been able to see of him, but I don't know what your thoughts are going into this season with a quarterback who's a transfer portal guy.
Yeah. Time will tell, obviously. I like him. He says all the right things. I like this other guy, Micah Leon, the transfer from UConn by way of NC State. And he's down here, I think he's either in his 6th or 7th year of football, but he is eligible. And and like Billy Napier said, when he gets in there in those scrimmages, we go up and down the field all the time with him almost. So he's got a quick, I watched a little bit of one scrimmage, and he took him right down the field, hit a little, it was the thirds against the thirds. So he hit a little walk-on wide receiver, and the kid sort of shook a few guys and went in the end zone. But they went like 75 yards, scored a touchdown, and I said, man, that kid can play. So, but obviously, Graham Mertz is our guy now, and hopefully he's ready to go. He says he's impressed with our offense. He thinks we have an answer to every defense, and I think we're going to beat Utah, Pat. I think we got better players than them. And I think we got better coaches this year than we had last year. So I don't mind saying that. I like our defensive coach, Austin Armstrong, and a bunch of those other guys. Billy Gonzalez, wide receiver coach, is back. He was here with Dan Mullen, of course, a few years back. So anyway, I think we got better coaches. We got better athletes than Utah. I think we should be okay.
Well, their big advantage is experience. I mean, they've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of games, but that can only take you so far. The other thing is I never know what for sure I'm going to see because I don't know how much hitting they are able to do in fall camp now. I don't know, back in your day, you guys didn't hit a ton, right?
Well, we hit, but we didn't always go to the ground, this, that, and the other. But we had our scrimmages. I think we've had at Florida now 3 or 4 scrimmages, and we played tackle. We're playing tackle. We're just trying to, not hurt a teammate, of course, which is what most teams do. But we have played tackle out there in the swamp, and I've watched parts of a couple of scrimmages. So I think we've hit our share, but you still got to be smart the way you scrimmage. It's stupid to get hurt in practice. I used to tell the sports writers, one time they said, you guys are not hitting them as hard or this, that, and the other, and you're not scrimmaging as much. And I said, well, when an army prepares for battle, they don't use live bullets when they're shooting their teammates. So you got to be smart and understand, hey, I'm going against teammates. I want to tackle him. He's going to try to make me miss, but just understand that.
Yeah, that is the thing that you hear from all the players everywhere, that you just get tired of hitting your teammates all the time and playing against your teammates. You want to play against somebody that you're trying to beat. That is a big positive when you finally can play your first game.
Yeah, I think so, Pat. I've been watching these NFL. Gosh, they play, 3 or 4 preseason games. And usually their starter quarterback doesn't play much at all. I saw Aaron Rodgers play, maybe 2 possessions the other night. And that's his for preseason. But he's played so much, he doesn't need a lot of reps. And he obviously looks like he's ready to go. So, but then you've got the young guys that are fighting for positions, fighting to make the team. So you got to go let them play. And we always tried to win those preseason games, but we played everybody. And I think you still got to try to win because they are keeping score. And I like the attitude of a lot of those coaches. In the Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens finally lost one. You know, they had won all their preseason
34
games.
in a row.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years in a row. And Harbaugh, he said, "Hey, we play everybody, but yeah, we hope to win the game." So I think I like his idea.
I don't know how much football you watched this weekend. I watched a lot because I was home sick, but I watched a lot of football. And Caleb Williams, really has a chance to win a second Heisman. He already had a Heisman moment. We're going to show that a little bit later, but pretty incredible day for him. But their defense looked susceptible again. I don't know if you stayed up and watched the Vanderbilt game, which turned out to be a great game, but it was good to have college football back.
Oh yeah, everybody's ready to watch college football on television, or else if it's in your area, obviously go to the game. But the Southern Cal quarterback Caleb Williams, he could be the next Archie Griffin winning the Heisman back to back. Certainly, he's the odds-on favorite right now.
Yeah, you never had a chance to win 2 in a row. You only won 1, and then you were gone.
Yeah, well, I had a chance the year before, I guess, but I was not. No, I really wasn't in the top 3 or 4, I guess.
I think you finished 5th that year. Yeah,
5th or so, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just on the side. But I know Southern Cal believes that they can win the Pac-12, and they're still in the Pac-12 this year before they go to the Big Ten. And it'll be, and of course, Utah beat them last year. Utah beat Southern Cal for the Pac-12 championship. So it's going to be a heck of a game out there in Utah Thursday night.
No doubt. I wanted to talk because I know you like to talk about other sports, and Florida volleyball with a huge win, beat number 8 Penn State. I texted Mary Wise. She goes, nobody said that to me in a while. Great win, but that was a big win. And then soccer's off to a 3-0-1 start. Maybe they're getting a lot better.
I think we won 8-0 the other day. So, but our competition gets greater, obviously, as we start getting into SEC play. Coach Bohan came from Duke, by the way, so she's one of my favorite coaches over here. And so anyway, women's sports are kicking in right now, and we got excellent coaches and excellent women's teams. So sometimes they have done a lot better than our men's team. Hopefully our men can catch up with the women this year.
Yeah, actually, the men had I think a little better year last year, but usually you're right. It's the women that are kind of carrying it. Before I let you go, I want to talk to you about Victor Hovland. He made my golf watching not very enjoyable, but I mean, what's he going to do? But it was because it was a blowout. But imagine winning $21.6 million in 8 days. I mean, that's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, he's had a couple of good weeks, hasn't he? I tell you what, how would you like to be able to putt like Victor Hovland? I mean, when he makes all those putts, they usually just roll right in the middle of the hole and go right in. But that was interesting yesterday. Is it Xander Schauffele that almost got within 2-3 shots there? And heck, he shot 61. And then Victor made that long putt to keep the 3-shot lead and then extended it right at the end there. But I think Victor is going to go on to be one of the top guys, definitely. He's probably going to be player of the year this year. And if he keeps it up, he'll be one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, he had a great quote. He said, I live in Stillwater, Oklahoma. That's going to go a long way, that $21 million in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Stillwater. Yeah.
But the guy is incredible. And you're right with the putting, but I guarantee you he'll get into a putting slump. Everybody seems to. And I remember asking Sergio one year why he changed putters in the first place, and he kind of gave me a snotty answer back. But the truth is, you won a major with this putter, but then you went away from it. I don't know. I like sticking with one putter.
Yeah. It's usually more the putt-e than the putt-or. But that Victor Hovland, I mean, his mechanics of putting are so perfect. I don't see him changing much. And of course he hit the ball right down the middle about every hole also. So he was not chipping out that often at all the whole week. But anyway, yeah, we would all love to putt like Victor Hovland putted the other day. That would be something.
I like to do everything like him. I mean, anything he's doing. You know, he's not a really big guy. He's only 5'10", and yet he pounds it right down there with the other guys. It's pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, I tell you what, a lot of the foreign guys, I guess, have won some majors here recently. Of course, the guy that won our U.S. Open was, what was his name again? Wyndham
Clark. Yeah.
Yeah, Wyndham Clark. He's an American. So at least we got some Americans up there still winning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Ryder Cup. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, we're looking forward to foot.
That should be good to watch the Ryder Cup also. But I'm looking forward to Thursday night. We need to get off to a good start. I think our athletes are well prepared to go out there and play a heck of a game. I don't know if the crowd noise will be all that difficult. And really, you should never let the crowd noise. If you got some hand signals or whatever, you should be able to communicate with no problem.
It'll be interesting, Coach. We'll fall in love with somebody that we didn't even know we were going to fall in love with. That always happens in a first game, and we'll see how everything goes. It's going to be interesting. We can finally talk about a game instead of just speculating as we have all summer. But always good talking to you, Coach. You got anything else you need to give us?
Oh, that's about it, I think, right now. All the preseason predictions and so forth, they're all there. I've sort of saved them because I like to, as we go through the year, I said, remember everybody was talking about this team? And I saw something interesting the other day in the newspaper. I guess Urban Meyer has a podcast, and he was talking about the schedules of all these teams. And he was talking about Georgia's schedule, which I mentioned, I think, last week or something. They don't play a team in the top 25 until I think they play Tennessee, about the 7th or 8th game. And the NCAA allows everyone to make up their own schedule. So they play 8 SEC games, but they don't play Alabama. Now, I don't think they play LSU either. So they got a weaker schedule than most anybody. But that's the way we do it in college football. They allow each school can do their own schedule. And right now, Georgia's got the easiest schedule probably of anybody in the SEC. But that's part of the game, I guess, in college football.
It's the opposite of the NFL. The better your team is, the harder your schedule is.
Yeah,
it depends
the NFL,
on how you.
They do a lot of things that gives the team at the bottom a chance to catch up. They get the first draft picks, the bottom teams, and the teams that win it all, they're the last in the first round. And so forth. So they're trying to create a balance and give almost everyone an opportunity. College sports don't do that with recruiting. Alabama gets the best players almost every year, and Georgia now. They're 1-2, and then occasionally I guess LSU is in there. And back in the 90s, FSU was right up there all the time, and we were pretty close. And we're pretty close now, I think. Next year, we got a chance to really rank high in recruiting if all these guys committed stick.
Right.
Hopefully, nobody will come in and offer more money. So anyway, that's part of college football nowadays. Yeah. It
is, Coach. And always great talking to you. We'll talk to you again next Thursday after your trip to Duke, and we look forward to hearing about that. We'll take a break here. We'll come back with more of another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
home. Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Attention all Gator fans, Meldon Law is giving away a chance to experience the Florida-Georgia game like never before. 2-night stay at the Hilton on the River, dinner at Ruth Chris Steakhouse, 2 premium tickets to the game, and a football signed by Coach Billy Napier, and much more. Go to the Meldon Law Facebook page and look for the VIP experience for 2. Good luck and go Gators!
Okay, and welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome's Gator Studios. And as always, we are going to go to our Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line and get Robbie Andrew to come on board. We got a lot of stuff to do, so we'll make it fairly quick with Robbie, but it's great to have him for yes, no, where, maybe. And did you watch any football this weekend?
Yeah, a little bit, Pat. The Vanderbilt game was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, it was entertaining. And then, it was fun to watch that USC San Jose game because nobody was playing defense. So,
USC's defense is awful.
Yeah, they brought in all these transfers and portal guys and everything, and a guy from Georgia, a guy from Clemson. They're the same defense they were last year when they gave up like 100 points to Tulane.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be that way for Florida this weekend.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I think people think the defense is going to be better, so we'll see.
Well, and that's the thing, Robbie. We can all say we think they're going to be better, but none of us know. We haven't seen them really practice.
No.
Seen them scrimmage.
It's the great unknown with this team in so many ways.
It really is. I always do. I usually do this thing. I didn't do it this year, but I usually do this thing about X factors in the SEC. Florida's one of the biggest X factors. I mean,
but when you look at who they're playing, and it's a lot of ways they are.
That is that we need to bury this. Florida doesn't play anybody, away from the swamp. Their last five of their last 7 openers: Michigan, Miami, Utah, and Ole Miss. They're in the COVID game. So I mean,
that's pretty tough.
We're used to some difficult openers for the Gators, no question.
Yeah, and this is another tough one.
All right, Robbie, it's time for Yes, No, Where, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak, street dining done the right way. We appreciate Keith Miller and the great folks over at Big Mills Cheesesteak. Number 1 on Yes, No Way, or Maybe, the Twins win the series against Cleveland, and I'm following this because they got 3 games. I'm going to watch the one Wednesday is on the ESPN Plus. It's a huge race. The Twins are at home. They take the series. Yes, no, where, maybe.
I'm going to have to just say a maybe on that, Pat. I'd like to think they take it, but they're just not. They're barely a 500 team, Pat. Even though they have a 6-game lead, they don't hit worth a darn. And their pitching's pretty good, but they never hit. So they're barely 500, even though they have a 6-game lead because everybody else is terrible in the division.
They don't hit, but they miss a lot.
Yeah, they whiff. They're the whiffer boys.
Boy, fun series though. I'm looking forward to watching some of it.
Yeah, it'll be good. It's getting that time of the year where baseball's interesting with the few pennant races there are. Because the Braves and Dodgers have kind of ruined those two.
Yeah, but this goes back to why I have become anti no divisions. I guess is that a double negative, anti no divisions? Kind of. Because just like Minnesota would not even be in contention for a playoff berth.
No, not even close.
Got these 3 games coming up that are huge, and people up there are pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Yeah, they'll get good crowds.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe with Robbie Andrew, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. Florida covers Thursday night. 6.5. The spread has dropped a half a point.
I'm going to say no way, Pat. And I'll tell you why. And we've talked earlier, the defense, I think, is going to be a lot better. We don't know for sure. But I have real serious issues with the offense at this point because we don't know what Mertz is going to do. And, I mean, look what they did in the spring game. Florida's own defense kind of loaded up against the run and took care of things that way. I mean, Utah's going to load up against the run, double cover Pearsall, and it's going to be a hard time for Florida to move the ball consistently and score points. That's just kind of the way I see it, but I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing. I certainly see that scenario playing out.
Yeah.
Who knows whether maybe Mertz is as good as Shane Matthews thinks he is, or as a lot of other. I've talked to a lot of people who are raving about him. Again, he's been playing all spring with a red jersey on, like all quarterbacks.
Yeah, he hadn't done it. Until he does it in the game, Pat, we're not going to know what we're going to get. And to me, the over-under on points for Florida in this game, I think if they get around 20, that's going to be about it. So I don't know if that would be enough to win.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it will be. And the other thing I'm going back to is the experience level. I've got some stats that I used in a thing I did for Gators Wire yesterday. I think their starting line has 58 games of starting experience, their offensive line. Florida's doesn't, I mean, so.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of things like that I keep looking at and I go, man, I think that's why I picked Utah too. I picked Utah to cover this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not a real good matchup for a team that has a lot of question marks. So to me, it just is a tough matchup.
All right, finally on yes, no way, or maybe for Robbie Andrew, you watched the end of the Vanderbilt game.
I did not make it to the end, Pat. I had to get on the no way. It's the way I had a no way on that. I tried, but at halftime I'm thinking, I'm never going to make it because it started so late. And I didn't know the score till I called up the internet the following morning. So no way, I did not make it. Even though I wish I had, it was a good game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They had a 90-minute weather delay. They had so much momentum going, and then, again, there wasn't much crowd there. And you can't blame them. They were going to watch Vanderbilt play with Vanderbilt like 68-10 last year.
Yeah, Pat, that wide receiver for Vanderbilt's the real deal, though. He's really good.
Phil Shepard?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, they've got two pretty good ones. I mean, they're going to be again, tough coming in here to the swamp, but I did not either, Robbie. When it got 28-14 and Hawaii got stopped on a fourth down, I went, I got to go to sleep.
Yeah. You reached the point. It was late. What time was it then by then?
Drinking, so,
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't make it. It was a big no way.
All right, Robbie, appreciate you being on board.
Okay, Pat, glad football's here.
Yep, absolutely.
Take care. Hope you feel better, Pat.
Okay, so thanks to Robbie for coming on, and really appreciate him coming on now last week too when I was really sick. I actually went back and looked at the Tuesday show, and I don't know how in the world I got through it, but somehow with Zach's help, we made it work. But we appreciate Robbie for coming on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe. So it's time for us to get to our Campus USA play of the weekend. It's the first weekend of college football. So, of course, we had to have two plays of the weekend. That's just the way I am. It's brought to you by Campus USA. We're going to start off with a play made by a former Gator. You remember him, the Michael P. Here it is. Catches a little swing pass. No, you're not getting it. No, I don't think so. No, neither one of you guys either. That is why I love Michael P. Ryan. And one of the because I listed him as one of my top 12 running backs of all time at Florida, and people yelled at me. And I said, I'm telling you, just because he doesn't have the stats doesn't mean he wasn't. I think he was. All right, and then our second one, I was watching this live when it happened. I couldn't believe it, but watch this. Caleb Williams has his Heisman moment in the first game, fumbles the snap, just drops back, and you're thinking, they're going to get him. No, sir. Here's a long pass, 76 yards, and that'll be a touchdown. And that game ended basically on that play. But Caleb Williams, it's amazing that he would get a Heisman moment on the first game. You wouldn't think that would happen, but that is a play you're going to see over and over again. And those are Campus USA plays of the weekend. Let's get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. We always appreciate doing the 3 things. We appreciate what Hesser and Kipke's been able to do for us. And, of course, Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the area of workers' compensation and family law. Ken and Jennifer take great pride in their one-to-one focus on each and every client they represent. Ken is board certified in workers' compensation law by the Florida Bar, while Jennifer possesses extensive jury trial experience with a nearly 20-year background as a prosecutor. Don't believe me? Well, check out their 5-star Google reviews or set an appointment at hklawfl.com. Or better yet, just give them a call at 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. All right, let's get to 3 things. Well, I also realized I did not shut my door. So you're going to hear my dog barking, and you just got to live with it. I forgot to let's get to 3 things. Number 1, ACC expansion is still a possibility, and apparently they're going to decide in the next couple of days. Shoot, they may decide by the time we get off the air what they're going to do here. I'm leaning. I think they're going to go ahead and expand. I think they're going to take, Stanford and Cal and SMU, and they're going to say, and you get no money. And I don't understand. I do understand why this is a good deal for everybody here. It's kind of a win-win. If they figured out a way to get more revenue from ESPN, and I don't know how they talked ESPN into it when ESPN's hemorrhaging money, but it seems like a win-win for both the ACC and for those teams, because otherwise they don't have a conference, or they're going to be in the Mountain West, and nobody wants to do that. Sorry, Mountain West. All right, number 2, Arizona State self-imposed a 1-year bowl ban. And Jaden Rashada, man, he wins the starting job, and right away he's told, can't be in a bowl, by the way, just so you know. That's not good. New coach. Of course, this all goes back to Herm Edwards. What a failed experiment that was. Seemed like a good idea at the time. And all of a sudden, they're winning some games, and they're playing with a little different intensity. But he was cheating like crazy during COVID. And so, but, that's rough if you're a senior. And you start out the season knowing you're not going to be in a bowl game. Now, the weird thing is, when we say that it's hard for these players. We also have to consider that a lot of them, not a lot of them, but some of them probably might be NFL draft worthy, and they may not want to play anyway. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing for Arizona State to do this when the NCAA's made it clear we're not doing bowl bans anymore, and that yet they're going to self-impose one as a way to get out of maybe harsher punishments. That in itself is kind of odd. So, welcome to the Big 12, I guess, next year. All right, and finally, number 3, I have to mention this because Ken is such a big Philly guy, but his Phils they're not making life uncomfortable for my Braves, but they're playing really well, and we know how good they are, and we know what they did last year, and we know they're 3.5 up in the wild card right now. Again, you're what do you have? 31 games to go, whatever it is. I think it's 32 games to go, actually, for most teams. So they're in great shape. But again, they haven't clinched anything yet. But you have to give them credit. That was a team that I didn't worry about. Now I got to worry about it. Now, I'm not worried about them catching it. We're 12.5 up. Didn't like the way we threw some pitchers out there last night. Florida played that game like a college game. They said, hey, we're out of pitchers. We're just going to throw whoever we can. Whoever raised their hand, we're going to pitch. And so they lost that game. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. We appreciate them so much. Let us get to our Adam Dripko to go player of the weekend. I can feel the wave coming on in my sinuses. Okay. I just wanted to stop for a second so I wouldn't have to do anything. Our Adams Ribco to go player of the weekend, Kennedy Martin. And let me tell you what, if you don't know what she did over the weekend, 2 matches for the Florida volleyball team, 18 kills in one against number 8 Penn State, 27 kills in the next one. What? Yeah, 6'6" freshman. She's pretty good, I guess. And now she's been on campus for just a little while. She's only played 2 matches. She's already been the Adams Ribco to go Gator of the weekend. What a great honor for her. I know she is overwhelmed with it. And I guess technically I could buy her some Adams Rib, right? Because I could just say it's an NIL thing. I don't know. I'm still not sure how that part of it works. And look, you saw in that documentary, those guys were talking about free drinks and all this stuff. And we all know that stuff goes on every campus in America. But now, I don't know, if you give a guy free drinks, do you say, hey, by the way, this is NIL? I don't know. That's weird. The whole thing's a weird dynamic. Anyway, Kennedy Martin, you are the Adams Ribco to go Gator of the weekend. Let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. And Florida plays Stanford Tuesday night in volleyball. And again, we're starting a new cycle here with the quick picks. We had a winner. And I'm going to get you what you won, but obviously I can't get to the UPS place or the mail place right now. Can't go. I look, I would like to be able to put a mask on and go do it, but I'm not going to make that much effort. Sorry. You'll get it eventually. The hat's not going to get any older. The gift certificate's not going to wear out. Plus, I think our winner lives in Houston. I'm trying to remember. I don't have it written down here right now. I've got an email. It's fine. All right. So our Florida, Stanford, at Stanford, that is your Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. Pick a winner. Now, Stanford is ranked, I think, 4th in the country. Florida, I don't know. The new rankings haven't come out. They'll probably come out later today. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. You just pick a winner, Florida or Stanford. On our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. Sorry. Occasional cough. I'm not really that sick. I don't feel great, but I don't feel terrible. It's just weird. All right, let us get to our Gainesville Quarterback Club. Great picks, and we'll do these once a week. Actually, we're going to do it twice this week because we're going to do it today with the Thursday games, and then we'll do it on Wednesday. We'll do the games on the weekend. So we'll just trying to give you my expertise on picking games. Now, last week I went 2-1, although I missed my lock of the week. Maybe I should stay away from lock of the week because every time I do that, I did that a couple of years ago for this podcast, and every time I did it, I lost. But I would pick normally pretty good. So we'll stay away from the lock of the week. I don't feel that good about any of these games anyway. Utah, the spread has dropped to 6.5 inside a full touchdown and extra point. Yay! Against Florida. I'm still going to take Utah. I just believe in their experience and home crowd and all that. I have like I said, I have no feel for what's going to happen, but I'll take Utah and give the 6.5. Again, I think Florida's going to be better. I think Florida could easily win this game. If it was me setting the spread, I'd probably put it at about 2. You figure 3 points for home field. Maybe I'd put it at 3. What Coach Spurrier talking about, Florida's got better players. I'm not sure Florida has better players. They've got a lot of really good players that have been in their system for a long time. We'll talk more about this in Wednesday's show. But anyway, I'm taking Utah. NC State is giving 15 at UConn. At UConn. I'll say that again. At UConn. NC State. I'm going to take UConn in that. 15 seems like a lot of points. You've got a new quarterback at NC State. So I'm going to take UConn on the points. Nebraska is getting 7.5 at Minnesota. This is another Thursday night game. One I'll be watching on one of the TVs. I think so. I think it's a 7 o'clock game. So that is. I think Minnesota's supposed to be good this year. I first game under Matt Rule. I'm going to take Minnesota. I'm going to take Minnesota and give the 7.5 points. And then Kent State is getting 37 against UCF. 37 points. I don't know anything about Kent State. I know a little bit about UCF. 37 is too many points to give anybody. I'm going to take Kent State. Come on, Flashes. Get up and go. 37 points. So those are the winners that I have picked. We'll see how those all work out. Let's get to our Swamp Restaurant games of the weekend. Games of the week. We're not going to give you the games of the weekend. We'll wait till Wednesday to do that. You know, there's a million great games, and we'll give you all the times and channels to watch it on. During the week this week, though, there are some other things to watch. Let's start off with Florida Stanford. Now, it's on Tuesday at 9 o'clock. It's on the Pac-12 network. Most of you, almost all of you, don't get the Pac-12 network, nor should you. This is the only reason to have it, is tonight or Tuesday night. That's the only reason I'm glad I have it. Now, I kind of got it accidentally, but I still have it. So I'll be watching Florida Stanford volleyball Tuesday night at 9 o'clock on the Pac-12 network. Baseball wise, well, let me give you the NFL game Thursday. We'll give you the college games later, but Detroit at Kansas City is a Thursday night game. That is next week. Just realize that. Cross that out, Patrick. What is wrong with you? There's no NFL games this week. In fact, that's one of the things that's driving me nuts, is that you kind of need that there in some of these games. But cross it out. Okay. Tuesday, baseball, Arizona, LA Dodgers, 10:10 p.m. on the Plus, if you want to watch it. I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying if you want to. Big series this weekend, Cleveland at Minnesota. They play Wednesday at 1:10 on the Plus. So if you've got ESPN Plus, you can watch Cleveland, Minnesota, if you're so inclined. And then also Houston at Boston. Sorry. Houston at Boston, I think this is. At 4:10 also on the Plus. So those are the games of the week. And then we'll give you the games of the weekend coming up on Wednesday's show. We appreciate the Swamp, where you can go get some great sangria Saturdays. Boy, that'll be a fun one Saturday, because you don't have the stress of the Gator game. So Saturday, you can go to the Swamp, sit there, drink a sangria, come back next week on Friday. Jeff Cardozo and I are going to be there doing the tailgate. Be a lot of fun. It's a place to be, the Swamp Restaurant. All right, let us get to, I think we've done everything except Pat Dooley Storytime. And Pat Dooley Storytime is going to go back to another opener that Florida played that was my most miserable opening game ever. And the reason, and again, Pat Dooley Storytime brought to you as always by Eastlake Pediatrics. The reason it was so miserable was the game. It was a game in Orlando. And we jokingly call the Citrus Bowl the Inconvenience Bowl, because they got new people that are doing it now, and they're doing a better job. I know that. But the last time I was there, it was not it was literally trying to make you as inconvenient as possible. That said, this game was a regular season game, as we know. It was a week 0 kickoff. Robbie and I got a hotel, because I got it way ahead of time, like 6 months ahead of time, right by the stadium. Literally, all you had to do was go out. It took us 2.5 hours to get there. And it was because we kept getting lost. Now, how you get lost on a 2-block drive is hard to understand, but we did. And everywhere we went, they would send us to a different place, and everywhere they sent us was the wrong place, and you would end up in a dead-end street. It was the most miserable 2.5 hours I think I've spent, maybe other than Tuesday night. But that was that was a game Florida won. I've been at opening games where Florida lost, not a whole lot of them. I mean, obviously there's been some really bad ones. The one that stands out to me is the Ole Miss one in '89. That was brutal. Tom Morris just had his problems that day. So, we have been to a lot of opening games. I can't imagine how many in a row I went to, but that was the worst by far. By far. Now, I was not at Florida Miami in '84. I was not at that game. There's actually a pretty good Pat Dooley story time that has to do with that. Maybe I'll tell that next week. Or maybe I'll tell that Wednesday. Yes, I got to remember that. I'll tell you the Florida Miami '84 story next week. It's a pretty good one. You'll lose respect for me. All right, that's going to do it. We appreciate all of our great guests, especially Coach Spurrier. We'll be back Wednesday with another show. We'll preview Florida, Utah. So thanks a lot to all of our great sponsors on another Dooley Noted podcast. It's presented, as always, by Titan MRI. I'm coming to you from the Meldon Law Dooley Dome Gator Studios. Until Wednesday, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I'm way back, and I am out of here.